So literally, as a small agency, there's lots of things we could do in measuring our business that I don't do. That said, right, you're leading into a big topic that every business has to think about, which is AI, right? And the first thing I always say about AI is it's the worst name ever given to something because there's zero intelligence in AI, zero. And once we understand that, we can understand how powerful a tool it is. Once you realize it's not intelligent, then you lose a lot of the fear of it. I use it as a tool. We use it every day, like everybody uses it every day for everything all the time, right? But I don't fear AI taking over my job or, replacing me in any way, shape, or form because it is not intelligent.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting edition of the Liquid Weekly podcast. It is I, Karl, your infamous host, with my even more infamous and nicely hair coiffed co-host, Taylor Page. Taylor, how are you today?
I'm doing well, Karl.
Your hair looks
Little
nice.
self-conscious now. That's
No,
pointing
it's
out
good.
my hair. That's well, thank you, sir. I appreciate your kind words as always, and it's always
Yes.
good to see you.
Hey Taylor, you run a small agency, don't you?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
How would you
Itty
like
bitty.
to run a successful small agency? Because
That's the goal, man.
I found someone, well, actually he found me. It was very polite and reached out. Scott Austin, owner of Jade Puma, is here with us today to talk about how to run a successful small agency. And we got the shirts. He's already successful in getting us to look better. So I can't imagine how much of an impact he's got on business. So Scott, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me here. I appreciate it.
Now, remind me, where are you from, geographically speaking?
Well, currently I lived in San Diego, and that's where I've been based out of since 2011. Originally, I was from the East Coast, so I can be a little sarcastic about things.
Usually we complain about the weather, and San Diego would make us especially jealous. But it's actually been 60 degrees here like the last 2 days in Ohio, although it's
Pretty nice.
rapidly
Wet,
changing.
but like,
as I look out the window. Yeah.
No, it's been miserable
That's
here for the
I
past week. It actually rained a couple times, like, drips coming out of the sky for a second or two.
It actually
And
rained a couple
the high,
times.
the high was only 61 one day. It was
Dude.
crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Wow. Wow. I was on a call with somebody who was like, "Oh, it's pretty early, because I'm on the West Coast." I was like, "I don't feel bad for you, man. Like, I'm in Ohio. Like, it's cloudy and rainy here all the time, and you're complaining because it's early. I'm sorry. You can see the sun. Oh, wow."
Do you believe in free will? You choose to be in Ohio, right?
I
won't
do
let
choose
him
to be in
leave.
Ohio. I would not live on the West Coast, though. That's just, y'all pay way too much for everything. I'd rather live like a king on the East Coast, I'll put
There's
up with
truth
the
to
lack of
that.
sunlight. I'll come visit.
I'm in a little crappy 900
is
square foot house that you wouldn't believe what it costs. It's unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Well,
worth it, right?
Yeah.
It is. It is. And it's
So
one of those things, until you come here, you don't realize how worth it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
which is why we can never go there, Taylor, because we would regret it.
Yeah.
Once you know, you
No.
can't unknow. Scott, we're talking because you're in the Shopify ecosystem, and maybe it's the Marvel movie franchise that ruined me. I don't know, but I like to begin most podcasts with hearing about people's origin stories. How did you end up living in a 900-foot house in San Diego doing Shopify development? Take us from you were born to successful freelance.
Yeah, well, I don't think you've had someone my age on the show, so I'm not going to start when I was born, right? And my early history before this stuff is like way too far back. I've done lots of crap in my life, right? Many different careers,
We've
I would
had
say.
older on the show, so you're good. You're
Nice,
good there.
nice.
But yeah, no.
But I started doing Shopify. I left Microsoft. I was at Microsoft for 12 years, from 99 to 11. And then I came down to San Diego and worked at a startup, and then left that, and with a couple of people from that started a company, and then left that with one person from one. I started another company, right? So we started this company called Obrary. And it was going to be the open library of product designs. We were interested in subtractive manufacturing, so things like CNC routers and laser cutters, because 3D printing was really big at that time. A lot of people doing the 3D stuff, right? The additive, and we wanted to do the subtractive just to be in that space. We like the idea of making, but everybody was doing the 3D, so we did the subtractive stuff instead. And we started, we needed a store to start selling some products we were making, and we were handing out designs and all that kind of stuff. So we like did some research. None of us knew what Shopify was, but then we started a Shopify store. And then it was kind of cool because it's like 2012, 2013. And they're like, we're using meta fields to build out our product pages, which back then that was, pretty obscure stuff kind of thing. And then we started building software to help people personalize their products. If they're going to make products, on the laser cutter and the CNC router, they could personally engrave a name or something like that. So we built some software for it, and we tied it in. You could, use it on, BigCommerce and on Shopify and that kind of stuff. And our first client that bought that software was on Shopify. And they're like, can you help us with our Shopify store? You guys are developers. We're like, sure. We'd never helped anybody with their Shopify store before. And then all of a sudden, like a couple years later, we're doing more agency Shopify business than we're doing personalization software business. And a couple more years of that, my business partner and I, we went separate ways because that personalization software business, or just the software business, didn't pan out as well. And I'd gotten deep into the agency stuff. So I started my own agency. And he had gotten deep in the personalization stuff and started his own 3D scanning company. So we took what we learned during that time and went in different directions, but it ended up working out well for both of us, kind of thing. So that's how I got into Shopify. And I'll just tell another funny story, to me at least, of how I got on the Shopify Experts Marketplace, right? I had this one client that had hired us for the personalization side of things, and they had an agency for building their Shopify store. And the agency was a bunch of freaking clowns. They didn't know what they were doing at all. And I wasn't trying to sell ourselves as an agency back then, right? And they're trying to build, and I ended up building their website for them. And the agency, I had started that store as a dev store. So I got credit for that in, the Shopify, partner stuff. And the agency that had, supposedly done the agency work, went to Shopify and said, hey, we built that store. We want credit for it in our account. And they sent me an email with, the Shopify and like, do you agree that they worked on? I'm like, sure. And I thought I was just giving them credit for their count of stores you had to have to be an expert or whatever posted on the marketplace at the time. Well, they actually stole that account from me, or that store. So I no longer got affiliate ranking for it, or affiliate money for it, right? Which pissed me off. So I'm like, all right, these guys are going to be Shopify experts, are listed in the marketplace. I'm going to get listed on the marketplace just to spite them. And then all of a sudden, my business like tripled, kind of thing, when we were posted up there. So it was completely by accident that I ended up being an e-commerce Shopify focused agency. But it was also, things happened, and they seen, I got to make a choice. Do I want to go this way or that way? And it was always good choices for me. Like, no, this is what I want to do. This is more along the lines of where I want to be. So I'll accept these changes and keep going in this direction.
That's fascinating. So when you were at Microsoft, just to back up, was that a software development role or was it more engineering, just ME stuff?
I started out doing, so I built Microsoft's Tier 1 Operations Center for data centers in '99 for MSN. And that was the most reactive job that Microsoft had. And everything I tried to do from there was get from reactive to proactive. So I wanted to get into, I was in ops. So then I wanted to get into product groups. I got into product groups. And then when I got into product groups, I wanted to get into software development. I thought I'd end up being, program manager in software development teams. I ended up running a couple of software development teams, but I never did dev work at Microsoft. And in the end, I was running Xbox games marketplace online.
Wow.
And I took that from 80 million a year in 28 to 800 million a year in 2011, which was how I got my unofficial MBA. Was I learned so much about business and running things in that 4-year accelerated timeline. It was absolutely crazy.
That's amazing. And then your first Shopify store, you said you helped these guys with, that was 2013.
12 or 13, right around there.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you've been there from the early days. So you've seen a lot of change.
Oh God, yeah. That's the fun part, right? It's the fun part and the negative part. It's always changing. Like, you guys do the change on every week, and like I have to listen to like what happened this week, because something happens every week. It's crazy.
And that's why Taylor insists on doing it. And that's why I give him the time to do it, because
Insists. That's right.
he demands. That's fascinating. Wow. So you've got quite a depth of experience, and to have you be able to bring all that with you into the sort of new era of Shopify, I guess it's been over a decade, or quite a decade yet. No, it's over a decade. Math is hard. It has to have served you well. And I'm excited to dig in more to this agency work and how you've kind of figured out how to structure the business and the processes you put in place and things like that. Really want to look forward to that. Taylor, you got anything you want to ask before we dive into that?
And well, yeah, I mean, I think it's good to dive into. I don't know if we can talk a little bit more about the intersection. I know it was kind of like, kind of moved into services and agency because that's what people wanted. And that's, you found you could provide a lot of value in that space, from that perspective. But I think it's kind of interesting because a lot of people, uh, I hear about it a lot the other way around, as far as usually it's, we freelance first because like that's the easier barrier to entry or whatever. And then we move into like a product, and you almost did it like the other way around. It seems like you had a product and then you moved into services. I don't know, like, is that just because it fit better, or you just found the work more meaningful, or it couldn't have just been because you were miffed at this other agency or whatever. Like I'm sure there was a lot more to it than that.
We all have skills, right? And I I like I like to think I'm self-aware about what I'm good at and what I'm not good at. And there's a lot of things that I'm really not good at, right? Like social interaction, bureaucracy, politics, and I'm probably even saying them in a negative tone. Those aren't negative things. They just are to me, right? Um, but I'm very linear about things, very logical about things, which, actually means I'm not a good developer, right? Developers can't be as linear as I think. The devs I work with are way better at development than I am, right? But what I'm really good at is understanding things and breaking it down to its simplest components. I make things black and white in a gray world. So what that makes me really good at is looking at anything and figuring out how to make it better. I'm totally a process person. So it ends up, why an agency is so good for me is I get to give my opinion about your business and critique it and help you make it better, not just do what you ask me to do, right? Like, for example, we're talking about agencies and freelancing. What would you define the difference between an agency and a freelancer?
Usually, I mean, real basic definition, most people would define like multiple people, right? Like more than one. So, freelancer, you're a consultant, you're an individual, as opposed to an agency that implies multiple people, right?
I was a one-person agency from 2018 to probably 2022. So, and that's I'm not disagreeing with your definition. My definition would be a freelancer does what they're told to do, and an agency tells their client what to do, right? So for me, I'm always telling my clients what to do. So much so they don't like it a lot of the times because they need to hear the hard truths, right? And I mean that literally. Like a real example, I talk my clients out of spending money with me all the time. Like, no, you're not ready for that next thing. Your business doesn't justify it. Go make 10,000 more a month in revenue, then we'll talk about doing that kind of thing. So what I'm really good at, for whatever reason, right, is understanding the dynamics of any business pretty quickly, and then being able to give you good actionable guidance to make it better. So being an agency was much more natural for me than, working on a product and figuring out the marketing message and all that kind of stuff. And I just love to talk when it's me telling you, what to do.
I know that those definitions aren't set in stone, but I do like that take on agency because in the back of my mind, I was going to go where Taylor went, but then I thought, maybe it's more about the autonomy and the way you interact with the client in terms of being more directive than less.
Well,
That's a fun
let's dig
distinction
into
to think
that for
about.
a second, because Taylor, no offense, I'm not picking on you here, but your subject
Here
line
we
in your
go.
email says, or your title says freelancer. Yet you and your wife have an
Mm-hmm.
agency, right? Like, if I
Oh yeah.
was you,
Mm-hmm.
I'd be selling yourself as an agency, not a freelancer. I think calling yourself a freelancer is not giving yourself enough credit.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think so. What I have found personally is, so I've leaned really heavily into like personal branding, probably is what people would say, like as far as that goes. And I've honestly had like an anti-agency mindset for a while. I think, and our experiences are a little bit different there, as opposed to, I entered like web development. And one of the reasons I felt good about starting to charge for services was because I actually had a couple interactions with agencies. It's kind of the similar vein of like, they did not do great work, or the things that they needed help with were so rudimentary that I was like, holy cow, like these people are landing huge contracts to do stuff they barely know how to do. I know how to do this stuff. Why am I not landing stuff like this? So that
Yep.
was kind of my entry. So as far as really early on, how I started differentiating myself was I'm not an agency. I'm a freelancer. Like I'm an extension of your team or whatever. So which that's an interesting mindset as far as like the telling what to do as opposed to being told what to do. I would say that probably resonates with me definitely a little bit more than it has as of late, kind of moving into that space of, trying to more clearly define that when I'm working with folks. So the agency thing is interesting. I think probably a lot of my work has come from people who are just so dissatisfied with agencies that agency becomes a bad word, and so that's why they're looking for a freelancer. So I've honestly been scared to like move more into the agency space because of that.
It's well, what you're highlighting is the fact that many agencies suck, right? Which isn't an agency thing, that's a human thing, right?
Right.
Most people just
Right.
aren't that good at what they do or don't give it, all their effort that they should kind of thing. People don't try to become experts in what they do. And what I try to do is, provide the best quality service I can and better than almost anybody else does. And, be the expert, right? And I think if you sell yourself as a freelancer, it's different than when you come in and say, I'm an expert in this thing. Let me help you. And I also have a very collaborative style, right? My clients and I, my retainer clients especially, we meet at least once a month, sometimes once every 2 weeks, and I have a couple of clients it's once every week. And we do online meetings the whole time. And like the bonds that we create are just incredible, right? Because, I'm in there every single day doing the most important decisions with them about what's going on, working with them, and I am a member of their team kind of thing. As opposed to, the freelancer, you throw something over the wall and it comes back kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, that
So
makes a lot of sense.
what's interesting too, Scott, is in addition to the distinction between freelance and agency, is your particular take on agency as being most effective as a small thing. You want to dig into that a little bit? Tell us more about why you think that's a perfect fit.
Well, I don't think agencies are best if they're small. Agencies for me are best if they're small, right? And that was one of those coming to my self-awareness kind of thing. Like I was at Microsoft for 12 years. I did okay, but I didn't do as well as I thought I should have, given how much I had accomplished while I was there. And I realized that the reason for that was I never thought about the politics of things. I never thought about managing up. All I did was do the best for my job in my business. That's all I cared about, right? And you're not going to succeed, in a political org in that kind of mode. And I realized and that's why I left Microsoft and went to a startup and did startups after that kind of thing. Um, I realized I wasn't gonna be successful in an organization like that. So I get frustrated. I'm on the spectrum like many of us probably are. And I get really frustrated when there's red tape, when there's layers of bureaucracy and decision making. Like as an agency, Jade Puma, I had a client, their Fortune 500 client, and I was on a call and building their Shopify website for something they were doing. And I was on the call, and every call there'd be 10 people from them and me, right? And the 10 people would talk all the time. And when it came down to a decision being made, that person wasn't on the call, or the person to do the work, that person wasn't on the call. And we'd end the conversation. They're all like, oh, this is a great meeting. I'm like, we didn't get anything done. This is absolute crap. I'm firing you guys, kind of thing. And that was like one of the big, like I realized, like, no, I just get frustrated and annoyed when things take longer than they need to. Like, I only want to talk to the decision maker. And that's not because I'm an arrogant jerk, although I am. It's more because I get frustrated and annoyed if it takes multiple times to make a decision kind of thing. So I realized over time, because I was taking on large clients and small clients kind of thing, and I realized, no, I should only take on small clients because I want to work with that decision maker because then we get things done quickly, we make decisions, and I have a lot of opinions and I give them very freely and sometimes very bluntly, which is very effective most of the time. The more blunt you are, I find that people like you said. I was talking to a client the other day, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I talk clients out to work with me all the time, because I tell them their business is stupid." Right? He's like, "What? You do that?" Like, absolutely, because it is. Right? I'm telling them the truth, and if you're honest and sincere about that, and you're only doing it to be honest and sincere, people figure that out over time. Or the people that do stay with you, the other people just leave, and I'm fine with that also. So for me, working only on small businesses was because of my personal limitations of not being able to deal with politics, bureaucracy, and layers of red tape. And it's made my life so much happier, right? I don't have that frustration and annoyance and impatience kind of things. I'm just working with good, honest people, doing good, honest work, making their businesses better every day. And that gives me so much satisfaction.
That's really nice that you understand yourself well enough to construct a work environment that is the best suit for you. Because I think, ultimately, when we're at our best, we serve our clients the best. And so it's good that you can take advantage of that. And it's helpful too. Like you've alluded to just being later in your career. I think that's another good benefit of having had that experience. You may not know as a younger business person exactly how that works out, your dynamics, the things you like, don't like, how you work with people. That's one of the advantages of experiences that you can kind of lean into that as you get a better image and understanding of who you are as a person.
Yeah,
It's
and
cool.
I'm pretty thick about things, so it took me time to realize these different, personal limitations on stuff. So, finally I
Yeah.
woke up and, and I also have this philosophy that I call it the leaf in a stream. Some people think they're salmon in the stream and they're gonna go, up the river. I've always had the leaf in the stream. I'm just going down the river, and as a leaf, I get to decide if I'm going right or left around a rock, but I'm not going upstream. And I just, have been pretty good about choosing those directions every time, and then some of those, drastically change your life, but it's like make decisions and just accept them when you're done with them.
That sounds like a very peaceable way to live. Uh,
Yeah, it's a good
I,
perspective.
yeah. I always think of that line, I'm a leaf on the wind from the movie Serenity. Those of you that were fans of Firefly. No? Okay. Never mind. Some of you
I
listening
love
will get
Firefly, but
this.
it's been a minute,
Yeah.
so
It's near the end. I won't ruin it for you, but watch it. It's a great movie. Well, Serenity's a great movie. So, Scott, I know we had talked a little bit, digging more into the agency stuff and the way that you work. You talked about that you're a big process person. Obviously, a big part of the process of having a small business or agency is getting that small business, the business for the small business. So, talk to us through a little bit how you approach customer acquisition, because that's kind of how we met is through the podcast. And I know you do some podcasts as well as part of that. Tell us more about your process around that.
Yeah, so being, a little bit of an introvert or quite a bit of an introvert, I just cannot reach out to people and do cold calls and sales, right? My previous business, Oberary, that failed, the biggest reason we failed was I could not do sales. Right? My business partner was great at the development side of things, and I could not generate business. And once I did that Shopify experts listing and started getting business that way, I realized, well, wait a second, you can do inbound marketing, right? And do content marketing kind of things. And I remember talking to Shopify. You remember back in the days you could call Shopify and talk to them? I was talking to somebody at Shopify. They wanted me to do a blog post or something. And this is like 2018, I'm guessing. And she was telling me, oh, yeah, we're going to change the Shopify experts marketplace. And she was explaining the changes they were going to make. And I was like, oh, shit, that's going to screw me. Right. I was just thinking about, I forget what the changes were. But I'm like, I am no longer going to be listed as high as I was because of the changes I heard coming. I said, I've got to do something about marketing. Right. And I can't do outbound. So it's got to be inbound. What am I going to do? And I'd always had a strategy of creating blog posts and then later on YouTube videos. I had blog posts going back to like 2012. I remember doing one. It was like how to get shopper approved reviews into Shopify or into a different system like Judge Me or something. I forget which one it was. But like there's no documentation in the world on how to do this, right? And I got at least 3 different clients that I can remember right now from that one article, and each one of those clients, maybe tens of thousands of dollars kind of thing from one. And I realized that anytime I could document something, and a lot of times I document things in a blog or in a YouTube video for my own purposes because I have a horrible memory and I go back and look at my own video to see how something was done. But I also found a lot of times when nobody has documented how to do something and you do the documentation, then people look at that and go, oh, that's great, but I don't want to do all that work. Why don't you do it for me? And then it became a customer acquisition tool for me. Document things that were undocumented, and then people will come to you to do that work, even though you just told them how to do it kind of thing. So I've always been a content creator, which is much more of a term today than it, was back in 2013, 2015. But I was always making blog articles, always making YouTube videos. But then it was in that time talking to Shopify around 2018. It's like, oh, this experts thing has been working well for me. Is not going to be working as well for me in the future. I have to do something. And, that's when, my ego said, well, you're really smart about stuff. You have lots of opinions to give. Why don't you do a podcast? Right. So I said, I'm going to make a podcast. And I've been doing that every 2 weeks since 2019. I think I'm on episode 180 or something. I don't know how you guys do once a week. That's crazy to me. But,
That's awesome. Congrats.
We don't do once a week. Taylor couldn't handle me that much. We do every 2 weeks as well. Seems like the sweet spot.
Yeah, no, 2 weeks, and it's a lot of work, as you guys know, right? It's like I don't allow myself on this. I launch on Wednesday morning at 1 a.m. On Sunday night, I don't allow myself to go to bed until it's done, right? And it used to be every Sunday night I was not going to bed until it was done. Now I'm a little more organized and paying people to do things, so it's a lot smoother these days. But I found that doing the podcast was a fabulous way, and it's just one way, right, of content marketing. So my whole philosophy is put as much of my knowledge and expertise out on the internet as possible. And people are like, well, you're giving away stuff for free, but you're really not, because anybody who's going to take that from you and not give you money was never going to give you money anyways. So yeah, you're giving away for free, but you're not losing any money in your pocket when you do that. But by putting that out there, you're letting other people become aware of you. And then when they call you, it's so much easier because you've established your credibility with them. And they also, because of the podcast, as you guys know, it's much of your personality comes out in a podcast, right? And the more time you do it, like I have people like, they've been listening to my podcast for 3 years, and they finally call me up, and they're like, oh my, it's like they're talking to a celebrity because they listen to you every 2 weeks in their head, right? And they're like, oh, I can't believe it's really you. Oh my God, you sound just like you do. Like, yeah, we're just people, kind of thing, right? But they already know you, right? So that sales call is no longer a sales call; it's a close call, because they've already made the decision. I'm going to work with this guy because they've been listening to you for years, or a couple episodes, kind of thing. And what I chose to do for my podcast is, I think a lot of podcasts out there are inspirational, and like you guys, I would call instructional, right? You're talking about how to do things. A lot of, especially in the Shopify space, a lot of them, what they're doing, because they're more focused on the store owners like I am, and they're inspiration. Like, oh, listen to this one brand and how fabulous they are and what they did. What I like to do, I call it the Shopify Solutions Podcast, because it's about solutions. It's not about this person's great or this brand is wonderful. We're talking about one small specific topic, and we're going to go detailed into it. Like my biggest compliment I get from my client or from my listeners is when they say, I actually had to stop, go to YouTube, bring up your notes, and look at your bullet points and do them step by step, because this was so instructional for me. That's the purpose of my podcast, right? It's how to do things in detail, because everything is way harder than it needs to be. It's ridiculous in 2026 how things aren't easier today, they're harder. Like Shopify, way harder today in 2026 than it was in 2013. Sure, I don't have to optimize photos anymore because that's taken care of for me, which I spent a lot of time in 2017 optimizing photos. I don't have to worry about that. But now I got to worry about freaking meta objects and meta fields and product taxonomy and stuff like that. Way more difficult. So as this technology gets richer and richer and richer, it's harder and harder for us to do these things. Like, how many times, you read the instruction, like, just do this. You're like, where on the screen is that word you just said, right? Just show me where that is, because it's so hard to find. And that's what we're trying to do, or what I'm trying to do with my podcast, is help people do what should be easy, but they shouldn't have to spend 3 hours of learning curve to do a 5-minute task.
One thing that's been on my mind a lot, Scott, I'm not sure if you thought much about it either, but in terms of the content marketing and content generation, it feels like it's becoming harder to do that for two reasons, right? One is people can very quickly generate a lot of content using AI tools, not necessarily high quality content, but quite a volume of content. And then two is I feel the behavior that people use to search is changing, in terms of not necessarily going to search engines as much, but asking chat apps, things like that. Uh, do you notice any impact on your metrics as you monitor your inbound sales? Is it becoming an issue for you at all? Have you thought about a strategy around that?
I love how optimistic you are, and you think I actually monitor my inbound sales. That's awesome. I wish I did that, right? No, I just get emails every
Well,
day from different sources and just respond and move on to the next thing kind of thing. But, so literally, as a small agency, there's lots of things we could do in measuring our business that I don't do. That said, right, you're leading into a big topic that every business has to think about, which is AI, right? And the first thing I always say about AI is it's the worst name ever given to something because there's zero intelligence in AI, zero. And once we understand that, we can understand how powerful a tool it is. But the problem is everybody assumes it's intelligent because they gave it the name intelligence, right? Sort of like Tesla self-driving. It's a lie, right? So once you realize it's not intelligent, then you lose a lot of the fear of it. I use it as a tool. We use it every day, like everybody uses it every day for everything all the time, right? But I don't fear AI taking over my job or, replacing me in any way, shape, or form because it is not intelligent. It's dumb, dumb, dumb. Right? How many times are you writing code with AI and it replaces a line you did not ask it to replace and it doesn't tell you why. And it's like, and then you ask it, why did you do that? It's like, oh, you're really smart. Yeah, of course, you're right. I was wrong. And it smiles at you the whole time. Like it's BS, right? So, I love AI. I think it's fabulous and it's only going to get better, but I don't think it's intelligent. I don't think it's going to replace me or you or anybody else who's
well,
adding value to the ecosystem.
there's a whole nother conversation about AI in terms of development tooling and processes and things, but I was
Yep.
thinking more in terms of the inbound sales generating content. It feels like, it used to take some level of human effort to actually put thoughts together and get it out there and have it be cogent. Now it doesn't. I'm wondering if that's going to make it harder for folks like yourself and ourselves to have that still be as effective as it has been.
I don't think we know yet, but it's a fabulous question. What I find is,
Thanks.
you're welcome. What I find is that we all over anticipate how much technology is going to change things. And I'll give you a couple real examples. Remember back when we were all going to have 3D TVs and none of us do today? 3D TV was the next biggest thing, right? Another one, AR and VR. Everything was going to be AR and VR, and especially in e-commerce, right? Oh, we're going to have AR, VR models of everything. We're all going to, put on our goggles and see what this looks like in our room. We're going to have to scan all of our product catalog. None of that crap happened, right? People just aren't that sophisticated, and they don't want to be, and they don't need to be in these spaces. So, there's absolutely this, bunch of deluge of crap coming. I think the best thing that might happen with AI is that it kills social because it's going to make it completely meaningless, even more so than it is today, right?
That'd be nice.
Yeah, it would be nice, wouldn't it? Right? And then we can get
Yeah.
back to, just, doing the way we used to do things in the good old days. Um, so yeah, I don't think AI is going to be the big issue, destroying things, but I could totally be wrong in that, right? It's hard to predict the future. I just have seen, we overemphasize the changes from things, you know, like the internet, right? I actually built my first website in 1994, and back then there was 30,000 websites on the internet, and I love stating that fact, right? Um, and I've always been into technology. I was working at a civil engineering company at the time. I built our company's website, right? We're the only civil engineering company in the world to have a website back then, kind of thing.
Did you have an
And
under construction animated thing on there?
no, but we had the
Because
counter at the bottom, the little,
okay, good.
views thing, right? And I was so proud of myself. We were a civil engineering company that worked on oil platforms and a lot of moving of oil around the world. So I don't know what app I use, we'd call it Photoshop today. And we had this tanker, right? And I went in and airbrushed the rust off the tanker, and I thought I was so advanced. It was amazing, right? But I don't know where I was going with that. I was just having fun telling my tanker story. But I've always been into technology, right? And the future, the way they promise it is all this, oh, it's going to be, amazing. It's going to happen overnight. That was 1994, right? And 2026 is 32 years later. That's a long freaking time. And the internet is pervasive and everywhere. But think about how long that took. It took decades and decades and decades, right? And if you look at it over a span of, a long time, you're like, oh, a lot changes, but it took a long time for that to happen, right? So AI is going to change things, but all this, oh, there's going to be no employees in 2030, BS.
Yeah. Taylor, I don't know if you had a particular direction you wanted to go, but as I'm looking at the time here, there's so much to dig into, and I'm already thinking we might have to have a part two to this someday, Scott. But I'm thinking maybe we should jump into the best practices and kind of dig into some of those. What
Yeah,
about
I'd
you?
love to. I'd love to hear best practice. Everybody loves to hear about client acquisition strategies. And so, but I think that's pretty well covered as far as what we're hoping to get into. So I think it'd be great to talk about best practices. I think people are always kind of drowning trying to figure out, especially when you're building your own business. Again, the beauty of that is leaving like a corporate world or not having to worry about the politics of the workplace and stuff is you get to kind of build your own thing. But the loneliness of that is you have to build your own thing. So yeah, talking about best practices, I think would be a great place to go.
Especially with
Yeah.
your experience, Scott. I'm excited to see what you've got there.
Well, when you talk about best practices for a small agency, there's tons of them, obviously, right? We can go a bunch of different directions. The first one I'll start off with is tools, right? As with any business, and this is what we do for most of our clients, right? No matter the size of the store that you're dealing with, you end up customizing their store for them to optimize to their processes, whatever those are, because every business is different, right? Like I love doing a wholesale store because every wholesale store has completely different business rules. And they're like, oh, we do this, that, and the other thing. I'm like, oh, this is so much fun. We get to install all these rules into your store to make it easier for you to do your business, more automated. So for me, one of the best practices is what can you automate, right? What can you make easier? And, one of the first places I look at doing that is saving how much money my clients spend, because that's important to me. Because I have small clients, right? They don't have a lot of money. I'm always talking them out of spending money with me. So what I want to do is build tools that allow me to do things more quickly for them, right? So a real example is we have a we have I think 9 now apps in the apps store, and a lot of those are just tools that we use ourselves, right? So I standardized on the Flex theme like 6 years ago, I think. Before that, I was standardized on Turbo, and every project I've done for the past 6 years was Flex. I actually just changed that last month, and it's now Enterprise. But so one best practice: standardize on your theme, right? Don't do multiple. Every single project I did for 6 years was Flex, and clients are like, oh, I looked at this theme and that theme. I'm like, no, you didn't like that theme. You like the photos that was in it, right? It showed demos of your category, therefore you think it applies. It doesn't matter. I'm using the Flex theme. But then what we did for the Flex theme is we built the Flex theme sections app. So every time we customize the section, like in the Flex theme, if you ever used it, um, there's a rich text section, right? Pretty basic. And what I loved about Flex is it gave, especially back in the day, it had CSS, classes you could add to things, which is easy to do today, but back then it was pretty cool. But it also gave you lots of controls. It gave you more colors and font controls than most themes did. But for whatever reason, in the rich text box, you had to specify the font for your heading and your text every time. And I'm like, no, I just want to use the standard ones. So we built our own rich text box that didn't have those controls and used the standard settings. And then we threw that into our Flex Theme Sections app. And now every time we'd open up a new store, open up the Flex theme, because we sold thousands and thousands of Flex themes, and we just add our app to it, and then we drop in all of our sections, right? We'd have a section for brand guidelines. So the first page we built for any store is their brand guidelines page where we document what their brand guidelines are. If they know them, if they don't, we help them figure that out. And then we use that for everything we do, right? So we have all these different tools we do. And then it literally takes me, 12 minutes to add all these components and pages and functionality to their store, where if I didn't have that app, it would take me hours and hours to do. So we're big fans of creating apps that do things for our clients that we do for every single store. And that's how we determine what apps we're going to build. Like, what are we doing for all of our stores? Like I'm a big geek when I'm building a store about the shopping experience. Like some people talk about the messaging. I'm a big believer in brand and telling your story, but I'm a bigger geek about, the structured data behind things. I've loved building product taxonomies from day one. Like, all right, what are we going to use the product types for? How are we going to use tags? What's our collection structure? And then meta fields came along, and then meta fields became easier. We started using them everywhere for everything. But that stuff's really, really hard, right? So now we have my favorite app is Datify, and that allows people to figure out set up and control their product taxonomy. What are you going to do with categories? What are you going to do with meta fields? Do you want to migrate all your tags to meta fields? And what do you want to do with product types? Do you want to have a structured taxonomy behind your product types? It's only this list that you can use and all that kind of stuff. So we built this app Datify, and we're still building it. It's I would call it beta right now. But we did that because that was work I did in every single store all the time, right? So let's build an app that helps me do my job and then put it out in the app marketplace also, kind of thing. So the question you asked, what are some, process things, best practices? The first one is tools to help you do things more quickly.
Makes a lot of sense. And I have not done as much in the theme space, but Taylor, I know you do a lot more in that space. Do you find similar opportunities to standardize has
Well,
been helpful to you?
Yeah, well, and maybe like breaking this down even more, Scott, probably what you would say is, because again, like if you're talking about like freelance or people that are earlier on or whatever when they're looking for best practices, probably just like understanding, like creating processes for things, trying to standardize things as much as possible. That sounds like that's a big move from there, and so much so that you can turn it into an app, which is great. But yeah, like there's all sorts of things where I'm like, oh, this would be a great app because you're doing it on like 10 different stores at a time. Like this is one of the first things we do. So that's a great way to approach that, of consistency, of things that you're having to do manually or whatever, things that you can then speed up. So, then agencies building stores become your customers just as much as merchants too, because
yep.
they want the app for that.
And then the nice thing is, right, once you have all these apps and this suite of things you do, we all have retainer programs. We all want retainer programs. And I'm a big believer in whatever your subscription is. Like what I tell my merchants is if you have a subscription, which is just like a recharge subscription, we want to add value to that subscription beyond the product they're getting ordered every time. So an example might be we give subscribers early access to a new drop, right? That's a frequent one we do for a lot of our customers, right? So with my retainer program, we try to add value, like you get free access to all of our apps in the App Store kind of thing. So not only are you talking to us every month, but you get that. We also set up scorecards for them that get delivered to their inbox every week. So we're constantly reminding them of the value they get by working with us. It's sort of like those, the real estate agents who you get a postcard every week from them. They're just trying to remind you that they exist, right? So we're trying to remind them that we exist and we're adding value all the time. So it's not just, oh, we're opening up your theme and doing this and that for you. Here's all the other things we're doing for you. The more value I can add to our retainer program, the happier I am always.
We just had an episode, was it the last one? I can't remember, where we were talking more in depth about hourly billing versus retainers, contracts, that kind of stuff. I'd be interested in what's your take on that. You obviously alluded to retainers being a big part of your business model, but how else have you typically approached pricing and billing and contracts?
Yeah, so I think I have a different take than many agencies do, which surprises a lot of clients, but I can close most of them on it. And that is we do hourly billing only. We don't do fixed price contracts ever, right? And that's the day I made that decision, I doubled my revenue, literally. Because what I found out, and you guys are probably aware of this, right? When you do a fixed price contract, you define the scope, and there's always scope creep. There's always things that change, and you're all like, I'm gonna take it on the chin, right? And I'm gonna absorb this into the cost. It's not worth the hassle, or they fight too much on it, blah, 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 right? And we take that best practice from the world of home construction and things like that, right? Where when you come into a house and you got to remodel the kitchen, I had a bathroom. I just had a bathroom remodel done last month, right? So my contractor came in, looked at the stuff, right, and said, "All right, here's your price." And I'm like, "Okay," and he showed me the materials and that kind of stuff, and we changed that. Oh, we did some color changes. So there were some color changes and that cost a little bit. So there was a change order, right? But it was easy. He knew the scope and there were no surprises, which was nice, right? They pulled out the walls and things weren't, whatever. There weren't raccoons living there and stuff like that. So there was no changes. So he was able to stick to that fixed price pretty closely. That never happens in software development or in the stuff we do, right? Whatever you call that, because it's always different. It always changes. The customer doesn't know when they tell you stuff, they're wrong, right? Just because they don't know or they don't know how to communicate it to you. It's not like you can just walk into their house and measure things, right? Um, so what I do is I bill by the hour, and I bill by the hour in arrears. So at the first of the month, I send you an invoice for every hour I worked in the previous month. And going back to processes and tools, I use Notion for my task manager. Not a fan of it, but I'm too wed to it now. I can never change. But we customize it deeply. We do time tracking in Notion. We built our own time tracker. We also do invoicing via Notion. So we took time tracking and built invoices for people. Um, so that's all in there, and the clients can see it anytime, right? I'm always transparent about exactly who has worked on what for exactly how long. And you can see, this task took 0.07 hours, which is like 2 minutes or whatever, because we click the button for time on and we click the button for time off. And that's the time we're billing you for, kind of thing. And we're also really diligent about when you get to the bathroom, you hit the freaking time off thing, right? You're not billing people, it's just when you're working, kind of thing. And that's me being very focused on the value we're providing to our clients, kind of thing. So, you're doing all that kind of stuff, and the automation to support the business model, getting back to the business model of it, of bill by the hour, because you never know what the scope is going to be, and it always changes. And a lot of store owners think about their store as a bathroom remodel. And what I try to explain to them, what I'm here for, is I'm not remodeling your bathroom, I'm building your brand. And that's not going to happen in a project. It's going to happen over however long we work together. And I've got clients I've been working with for probably 7, 8 years now. I started my retainer program because one of my clients said, you need a retainer program to keep people like me, secure and top of mind and yada, yada, yada. I'm like, all right, I'm going to create a retainer program, then, kind of stuff. So, I'm 100% bill by the hour. Not doing fixed projects. I do not do contracts. I do not do scopes of work. And that is another thing. I can only do that because I don't work with big businesses. If I worked with big businesses, they would require those things, right? And I've had a couple people go, what, you don't do a contract? I'm like, no. And they're like, well, how do I know, blah, blah, blah. I was like, dude, when I send you the first invoice, if you don't like it, if you think I'm ripping you off, don't pay it. And then we're done. No one's ever done that because I'm super honest about things, or at least I think I am, right? But if you can, if you're sincere enough about those things, you can convince people to trust you. If you've started building a relationship through them through your content marketing for a long period of time, and you also have,
Yeah.
decade worth of clients and video testimonials that they can listen to, and you give phone numbers of people to them. Nobody ever calls and checks on those things, but they're all there for them to do that kind of stuff. People are very surprised when I tell them, like, oh, I only bill by the hour and I won't give scope or an estimate up front. I'll tell them, oh, I think it's gonna be a $5,000 project, $10,000 project. And then the last thing I always tell them is, and I want to be very honest with you, you're going to spend way more money with me than you think you are right now, because I'm going to show you every day how much value I'm providing, and you're never going to let me go, right? As your business builds, you will keep me around and you'll spend more money with me than you ever thought possible.
That's really interesting take on it, and I'd love to dig into that more, but I also know we're coming up on the need to change to the Changelog here soon. Taylor, is there anything else you wanna pull in before we have to make that transition?
No, I don't think so. Well, because it is one of those
There's
things.
a
Like, I feel
ton.
like that could be like we could do a whole episode. I feel like talking about scope and contracts and billing on that, because it is interesting. That's definitely a different take than what I hear from a lot of people. But it also sounds like it's a very honest take. It sounds like you have like a very good relationship that you build intentionally with the clients you work with. That makes that actually work. So that's awesome. Kudos for that.
Yeah,
But yeah, like I feel like we could talk about that for another hour, easy.
imagine a world with no contracts and not having to put together scopes. Right? It's makes life
I mean, I love
so
that.
much
I love the
easier.
sound of not putting together a scope. So
Yeah, yeah. Like for me, they call me up, right? I schedule a meeting with them. I spend 1 hour, and that's it, and I'm done, right? And I tell them I'm not going to call you back. I'm not going to reach out to you 24 times. Like, you called me the first time. If you're ready to move forward with me tomorrow, just tell me you're ready to go, and I'll send you a to-do list. 5 years, tell me you're ready to go, because people do that. They come back literally 5 years later after the first sales call. Like, I'm ready, not a problem. But I've gotten really good at explaining my process and somehow I'm convincing enough in it that they trust me, and it's worked out quite well. And for me, it's all about reducing that friction. A lot of things we're talking about along the way, right? Reducing
Yeah.
internal stresses and friction, and this was one of those for me.
Yeah, and overhead. I mean, I know we talk a lot
Yes.
about billable hours as a consultant or a freelancer or an agency, and
Mhm.
you think, oh, I can bill 40 hours this week. Well, no, because you've only actually worked 20 and you spent 10 doing scopes and whatnot and all this and that. And yeah, it adds up. So
Yep.
that's great. Well, again, we could dig into this. I'd love to learn more about the retainer stuff and hear your thoughts on that too. But we'll have to save that because Prakar, who's currently at the gym working out furiously as he listens to this podcast, can only go so long because now he's married and has to get home. So Taylor, well, actually, I think he works out with his wife. Sorry, too much information. Taylor, you want to take us into the changelog?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So as far as a couple of only a handful of things here, I'll break it down to things that I thought were important, Carl, because I know you don't want to spend too much time in this section. But one that just rolled out here very, very recently. There's already a lot of chatter about this. Reduced metafield value sizes. So I don't know if y'all had seen that in the changelog quite yet, beginning with API version April 2026. New metafield values are going to be limited to 16 kilobytes. So this is a pretty significant shift. A lot of app devs I know are kind of concerned because we've been stuffing metafields full of stuff for a very long time, and so the concern here, or the suggestion here now for moving forward, is going to be like to throw things together via meta objects. So that's where
Or a
Shopify wants
list
to
of
move.
meta
So
fields.
this feels like kind of like the other shoe has dropped. What's that?
Or you could do a list of meta fields. We had one that was affected by this, and we just changed it to a list of meta fields, and it worked.
Yeah, as long as like the individual meta fields, meet size limitations, because that was a
Yep.
suggestion. At least there's actually a thread in the forum. So kind of like we talked about in a previous episode. There's actually, with every single changelog that comes out now, there's an actual post in the dev forums, and so there's been some chatter about this already. So you can kind of go there and see kind of the logic and suggestions there. But this is the kind of the other shoe dropping from when meta object entries just kind of exploded to, oh yeah, like a million per app or whatever it is now. This now is like the idea is moving that way. So sounds like there's another potential workaround: move stuff to lists, restructure that in some way, shape, or form. But Shopify is gonna keep telling you like put stuff in meta objects, man. So that's just something people need to be aware of. Other positive, admin API and bulk operations are now available via the Shopify CLI. So Shopify has now got some bulk operations that you can run straight from the terminal, which is pretty cool. I know some other devs have put together their own tooling just to like handle a lot of this stuff, and now it being natively available via commands in the CLI is great. So make sure to upgrade to 3.90.1 for that if you have not yet. A couple of other things here: improved app logs and monitoring. So those have been expanded. So access up to 30 days worth of webhook data. That's kind of interesting as well. I don't know what the previous limit is. Does anybody know offhand? I
I
didn't
didn't know
see
there
what
was
the
a limit.
previous was. Well, there you go. 30 days is what you get now. I don't know what it was before, but I'm sure someone can pop off on that as well. So related to that, webhook subscriptions, you are now supporting a name field for identification. So, you can make this a lot easier to kind of keep track of specific hooks that you're interested in. Different, multiple subscriptions you have targeting the same endpoint, different things like this. You can name them now and make them easier to track in your app as well. And last but not least, something I was kind of excited about. So there's a new Shopify account web component for storefronts. So Shopify has talked about legacy accounts going away. Their days are numbered, and they keep giving us all goodies just for the new customer accounts, which are just customer accounts. But there is a new web component, and it is very smooth. I implemented this like as soon as I saw this. It's very, very nice to have. There's obviously some things to be desired yet, like we don't have custom events and different things like that or whatever, but I think those will come in time. For right now, it's just handy. Obviously, Shopify is investing heavily in the web component front right now, which I think overall is a win for the web. For the rest of us, they're a lot more accessible than a lot of other things. So that's it. That's the changelog, Carl.
Thank you, Taylor. Wonderful job as always. I'm excited to dig into some of that stuff myself and always points in the right direction. So now it is time for the third half of our show, my favorite half. our picks of the week, where we get to go around and share something top of mind for us. Could be technology related, could be of the gastrointestinal variety. Just depends. You never know what you're going to get. I'll go first today to give everyone a chance to think about theirs. So I broke out of my mold and went out to see a movie last night. Yes, in the theater, just like the old days, the good old days. But no popcorn for me because it was late and I'm still doing that keto thing. They don't have keto popcorn apparently, unless you can count cheese. But I went to see that movie, Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. If you've heard about that or seen the trailer for it. No? Really? I think there was a Super Bowl ad.
No.
I had heard about it.
Who
It
watches
was
the
very
Super
interesting.
Bowl?
There were other ads too. I really enjoyed it. It's different. I think it was interesting discourse on the state of society on some level because it really touched on just rampant like phone usage and sort of being plugged into social media and AI and the distractions and how it's impacting our society. But it was also very sci-fi movie and pretty intense in some parts. But it was. I don't want to give the plot away, but if you're interested in that kind of genre, check out the trailer. It holds up as a feature-length film, so do yourself a favor and go see it if you're interested in that kind of thing. It's, again, some gore, some intensity, so a little warning there if you got kids. Definitely not a kids movie, but it's interesting. So good luck, have fun, don't die.
Nice.
Scott, you want to go next?
Sure. Since I don't have a personal life and don't go watch movies and fancy stuff like that, I'm going to talk about something I found
It
in
was once a
Shopify.
year.
Whatever. So, 2023, Shopify launched a feature that I didn't realize existed until last week, and that was pages built by meta objects. And I got to say, it's the coolest thing ever, right? Because we used to do things in blog
Yes.
articles, right? You'd have, a team, teams or, type of listing of people, you'd put it in a blog article and make an article for each one, but then you can't sort it in anything but freaking numerical because that's how blogs get done. And now you can build pages automatically. So when you create a new meta object, the page exists, and then you can build your own cover page, which I'm not going to be surprised when themes are required to make that a standard template in the future because we had to make our own template for it, our own section for it. But you can, then you can sort it any way you want, display it any way you want. It removes a couple steps. They're not big steps, but it removes a couple steps in using meta object pages to list out data that you're putting into meta objects. So it's been around for a couple of years. I didn't know it until this past week, and I absolutely love it.
Also, let's check that one out too.
Love meta object pages.
You just love meta objects.
I do love meta objects. That's my answer for everything. I asked somebody how to do something the other day. I was like, I'm pretty sure I can do this with meta objects, but I'm going to ask. And then someone was like, no, don't. There's already a thing for this. And I was like, oh shoot, yeah. I'm at the point now where I try to meta object everything, and that's probably not the way to do it. But
no, I think it is, right. And the reason for that is
I do too.
Literally, like with Online Store 2.0, right? The beauty was, with Sections Anywhere, you could put content and have unique content all over the page, but then your content was stored in your theme, and then you were locked into your theme.
Yeah.
With meta objects, your content is not stored in your theme, and it's more reusable, and then you can use it more than one place. Meta objects is a huge improvement, but it's hard, right? It takes a while to figure it all out.
Yeah, I would agree. I love that. Doing that a lot more lately, where instead of theme config, we're migrating a lot of stuff to meta objects instead, which is very helpful for a couple of reasons. But again, like that, we could go deep on meta objects too, and I don't want to dig into that or whatever. But it's the nice thing being, it makes it accessible via other sales channels too through the storefront API. But that's again like stuff for another day. Great pick, meta object pages. Okay. Is it my turn, Karl?
It is your turn, Taylor.
I'm also going to pick meta. No, I'm not going to. So for mine, I'm just going to pick Cloudflare workers. I don't know if I've picked this before. I've been using these a lot more lately. It's taken me forever to kind of understand how to use them for different things. But I've been using them for a handful of projects. AI, I don't even know if I still like really truly get these, but AI is really good at using them. And so me and Claude have been cranking these out, leveraging stuff for all sorts of different things for little projects and stuff. So real big fan. If you haven't checked out, Cloudflare obviously is tons of great stuff. They do domains and stuff now as well. That's my first place to go, for managing domains and all this other stuff as well. But Cloudflare workers are just really, really cool. So definitely check that out when you get the chance.
Awesome. I'll do it. I've not used those myself. I'm more of a Fly.io guy right now, but we'll do it. Speaking of which, I know we're wrapping this up, but Scott, you mentioned doing this for forever. What's your tech stack?
Well,
So it's not Ruby. Here's the thing. I'm not a developer.
All right, well, that's a wrap.
He's like, I'm all right, and boom.
Well, you've done it again. You wasted another perfectly good hour listening to the Liquid Weekly podcast. Scott, thank you so much for joining us. It was a real treat having you on. We learned so much, and I do hope we get to continue that conversation. If you haven't listened to Scott's podcast, definitely check it out. We'll have the link in the show notes. I'm sure there's lots of valuable content and many years worth of listening there to have available. Taylor, good to see you. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you at the next one. Happy hacking.